Good day, Internet.
Oh, Internet.
Good
Where
day,
you
Internet.
been all my life?
Yeah, where have they been?
Now,
What's going on?
Internet, I care about everything that you ate today, but I'm most concerned about Scott's recent fajita journey.
I had quite the fajita journey. So I went to El Cholo, which is now an expansion location to the LA restaurant. You guys had said really good things about it, and it's also in this really great new area over there that's like sprouting new stuff all the time.
Like Salt Lake, like the cool mall type thing.
Yeah, there's more like a, I don't know how to explain it. It's called Sugar House, and it's south of the city, but it's kind of its own thing and has its own vibe. It's really cool, like a lot of art district stuff and that kind of thing. So this opened up there, and we're like, yeah, we haven't been down there in a while. Let's go down there. So we did. And my son's apartment is also near there, so we got to make a whole visit out of it and all that. And
Hipster town crier.
yeah, the inside super nice. I don't know what it used to be, but it's really nice and spacious in there. We ate outside because it was a nice day.
Nice.
We were in the shade. It's like 82 degrees and dry. It was really nice. And so we did that. And I got these street tacos that were, I forgot the name.
You got tacos.
Yeah, that's just part of what we got. So we got a big mix of stuff and then share around.
Yeah.
So we got their nachos, which are all loaded up with like jalapenos, which I'm a sucker for. And then I got these tacos that were like steak tacos, and then she got. Then we shared the fajita thing, and all of it was good. And I'll say this one thing that surprised me: most Mexican places that I go to are fine, but their refried beans or their black beans are kind of okay. You can tell they're from a can. They're mass produced. They're not anything special. The beans here were unbelievable. The black bean like paste they made out of regular black beans. They would put under certain things or whatever. Unbelievable beans.
Unbelievable beans.
I was blown away by the beans.
Ooh, blown away. That could be their like subline. Blown away.
That's what happens when you eat that much fiber.
Yeah, it's get blown away.
Okay.
Beans are good fiber. Away. It was great. Tom's right. It was great though. I had
shoot you through life.
Yeah. If I had only one beef. We had beef.
Oh, did you have beef? Did you have chili rain?
If I had an actual beef, it would be that the prices were a little higher than anyone expected.
Yeah, you got LA prices.
LA prices, yeah.
LA prices.
Which isn't that far these days from Salt Lake
area.
Prices, but it was a little more than we were like, oh, okay. And then, still enjoyed it. It was still worth it. I would go again. But it was fantastic. You guys didn't leave me astray.
The short version is Nerdtacular will be held at El Cholo, right?
Yeah, yep. Just expect some
black beans all the way down.
Confirmed.
LA prices confirmed for it.
Oh, was it like LA
so
prices or slightly cheaper?
It was about the same. Sorry, go ahead.
That you mentioned the beans. I know what you mean. I'm a bean fan. I like all beans. Pinto, black, let's do it. Fava bean, all good.
Yeah.
But I know what you mean when you're sort of like, it's probably canned. But that's fine.
Usually fine.
For that reason, because I have my rice cooker now, and I've made lentils and garbanzo beans in the rice cooker, but not black beans. I'm like, you know what? I think we're going to do a black bean fiesta this week.
I love it. Yeah. I'm coming to your place. Let's go.
I mean, really, it's just having the time to soak the beans overnight.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like, why do canned beans not taste as good as just beans that the beans are going to be, you have to do a lot of more work if you're doing it from scratch, but not really that much more work.
Not much. It's not that much.
But why do they taste so much better?
I don't know.
It's probably because they add seasoning in the process.
Salt and seasoning.
Salt, pepper.
And
there are some brands of canned beans that I find quite tasty.
Yeah.
But there is a different texture to the canned bean. Like there's something that happens to the bean.
Is it
in
because
the process of canning it?
I don't want to sound bougie, but to me it's like
for a while.
It's like coffee people and how seriously they take grinding their own beans versus
That's actually probably a pretty good comparison.
So you'd like to grind your own black beans?
It's not like all coffee is horrible, but some coffee is better.
Yeah. There you go.
It's probably because when you can, right? Don't you have to sterilize and you cook the beans in the can before you drop them in?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you get the.
I know that cans get heated up.
And I think pretty much every circumstance, it's all cooked. You just reheat it afterwards.
Yeah, but they purposely, because they don't want you to get like botulism or something, funky.
Yeah, Yeah, no,
mean,
they
they
have
don't
good
care.
reasons.
But they
I
don't
don't
get
want that.
sued.
I don't want
Well, they want a repeat customer, right? You don't want to
Yeah.
just like, oh, these are the worst beans ever.
This is the tastiest botulism I ever had.
It's amazing.
And you know what? The
botulism.
first time I learned about botulism, guess where? Quincy.
Quincy, the show Quincy.
Illinois? Oh,
I thought you were
No.
going to say like the hospital.
It was it's the funnier half of The Odd Couple. That guy.
Yeah,
yeah, the
I know his
emergency
name.
room.
name.
That's where I learned.
That's where I learned about it.
Quincy.
So fun.
No, I thought it was a great. I first botulism, and Quincy are forever intertwined in my head.
Why can't I think of his name? He was in 12 Angry Men also.
Dun, 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 dun.
Oh,
Only
the
we
odd
had
couple.
the
Jack
internet.
Klugman. Jack
Jack
Klugman.
Klugman.
I knew it would
I couldn't
come to me.
remember his name either.
And it was weird
I
because
would
he
not
was
have
just a
known that.
medical coroner, but he
And
was
who was the
also
other?
like solving cases. This is like
Oh, yeah.
that was the thing about a lot of those shows is everyone had a day job that somehow morphed over into solving like murders or crimes that the police couldn't solve.
Everybody thought Murder, She Wrote and that other one with
Magnum PI.
He was more of a private investigator though. But like these doctor ones, the doctor ones were like they weren't really doctors, yet they would sometimes solve doctor problems. And if they weren't, really
there was the one
lawyers-
with
What about that show House? Remember,
Yeah,
he
House
was the
is like
doctor
that.
that was like always going rogue,
Yeah.
you know, and everyone was like,
The
"You can't
problem
do that,
was
Doctor
the blue
House."
jeans. The
The whole
blue jeans
time.
weren't washed. That's what
right.
poisoned him.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
I remember there was an
Everything.
episode of House where it turned out that the person had put on blue jeans without washing them and the dye poisoned them or something.
Goodness.
I always think of that when I buy new jeans.
Damn.
I
Wait,
think I didn't really watch the show that regularly, but I think that the first episode of House had to do with a brain parasite, which was the exact one that I had.
No.
Dang, dude.
Now, did you watch that before or after?
After, no, somebody
Oh.
told me about it and was like,
Were you like
I think
critiquing
this is
it?
like
You're like,
your
"That's
your
not how it
thing," and I was like,
Are you gonna get? Are you
I don't
gonna get?
know.
Are you gonna get VO3 to kind of composite your face into that episode?
I would like
So-
residuals, is what I would like
So when they're talking about like, your face comes on screen.
for my
I figured
time
you'd
and
just
effort.
be critiquing it and being like, that's not right. That's not how it happens. That's not how it
Dang,
works.
man.
I should watch that. I know.
I ate
Isn't that
steak
weird?
tartare. That's what happened.
Well, no, it has to. It's much more intricate than that. But yes, yay brains!
Yeah. Brains are great. They're pretty great.
They are.
Eh.
They can be problematic,
Yeah.
but
I mean, you
overall
have to be
great.
You have to be careful because
I've got this far without one.
Yeah. You know what? Fair
You're
point.
actually doing really well without a brain, Tom.
Thanks. Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
Fair point.
If I
Fair
only
point.
had a
Maybe,
brain.
maybe I should also get a lobotomy.
What's the lobotomy?
Prove
There's
it.
a poem.
The song, the guy that just died.
Yeah.
What was that song? There was a guy that just died. He made a song about lobotomies.
The
It was
bottle in
great.
front of me.
Yeah,
Oh,
that whole
yeah.
thing.
I'd rather have a bottle in front of me instead of a frontal.
Than a
I
frontal
was,
lobotomy.
I was
Yeah.
thinking of the Breakfast Club quote. All I need is a lobotomy and some tights.
Yeah. I like that one. That's so funny. We were just talking about that.
show, everybody.
Good day, Internet. This is DTNS Live for Wednesday, August 27th, 2025. From Studio Animal House, I'm Sarah Lane.
From Studio 7 in Los Angeles, I'm Tom Merritt.
Here in the great Salt Lake Valley, I am Scott Johnson.
And I'm the show's producer, Roger Chang.
DTNS Live is made possible by you. Thanks to all of you, including Michelle Sergiu, Kirk Stephenson, Miranda Janelle, and 2 new patrons. I think they're saints, Gabriel and Brett.
Yay! Gabriel and Brett.
One of them's an angel. I love
Yeah,
it.
Well, Brett's an angel as well.
Sure.
he really
Angel
is.
Brett.
Like,
Yeah.
once you get to know Brett, you realize, like, damn,
Gabriel
you're
and
an
Brett.
angel.
I wonder
Brett.
if I
You're
get
an
into an
angel.
auto accident, I can contact them.
There was probably a Brett who played for the Angels, so I don't know. I have to look
Favre.
up my MLB
Ooh,
history.
yeah. Oh,
Brett Favre
bringing
played
it,
for
bringing
the
it for
Angels.
full circle.
Wrong sport.
Well, this is DTNS Live. Even though we do talk about sports from time to time, this is the show where we discuss the tech news to help us all understand it a little bit better as we go through it together. Scott Johnson, how you doing today?
You know what? I'm doing okay. I got a lot going on. Very busy. Lots of stuff happening. Later in the show, I'll talk about kind of a big one that may affect some of your listeners if they are interested in such things. But just trying to keep the head above water, just floating.
Keeping your head above water.
It's that end of summer. Let's just try to float.
Yeah, and I missed being here last week. Of course, it was experiment week. Tom was out of town, all those things. But I felt a hole in my Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Did you see a doctor?
No.
Did you try root beer float?
He said we can do this over
Imagine
Zoom call.
going to
It's
the
fine.
doctor and being like, "There's a hole in my Wednesday.
Well, let's take a look.
What do I do? All right, let's
have a look
give
at
it a
your
shot."
whole Wednesday hole. Yep.
Let's see your Wednesday.
Roger, how's your Wednesday going?
Not too bad. I finally got a lot of stuff I wanted to do. Done.
Did your
table.
deal go down? Did your
No, there's a small wrinkle in it, and it involves fast food, but I don't know how much more I can say.
Okay, fair enough.
Interesting. Well, we were talking about fajitas before the show started, so
Now we're all hungry.
yeah,
Yeah.
I am for sure.
Not my fault.
Tom Merritt, it would be rude of me not to ask how you are doing as well.
I'm doing great because Eileen brought home Portos for lunch. So I am full of empanadas and potato balls and a ham and cheese croissant.
What's a potato
fantastic.
ball?
No, have you not had the potato balls at Portos?
No.
Portos is a Cuban bakery for anybody who doesn't know, and they
Okay.
make these potato balls where it's like a breading on the outside, then potato as the mantle, and then the core of like meat or mushrooms or something
Ooh.
delicious.
Which is weird
Oh,
because
wow.
it's not really a ball; it's more oblong. I think they're really good. If you ever get a chance, beat a path toward Portos, and if the lines aren't too long, you'll be eaten in mere a dozen minutes.
Yep.
Nice.
The lines are always long, though. was really what Roger was alluding to. Like, Eileen was waiting for a store at the mall to open, and she was like, "Well, I'll just pop open to Portos." I'm like, "How was the line?" She's like, "Still there, even early." I'm like, "Why are all these people here in Wednesday
would
morning?"
you
But
consider this like a samosa type thing? Because I love a good
potato
samosa.
ball?
Well, samosas.
I would say
potatoes
maybe
and other
a
stuff
cousin,
inside.
a cousin of.
Yeah,
a
I'll let
samosa.
Roger answer. He's the one. That
Maybe
ate one
more of a
these.
cousin of a samosa.
A cousin of
All
a
right.
samosa. All right. Well, there you
Family's
have it.
everything. Yeah.
Well, some of us have eaten well today. Congratulations, Tom. But if you are watching live, you can name this episode as we go through all the tech stories of the day. Head to dtns.showbot.tv, keep that tab open, submit titles, and vote on them as we go through lots of topics. And we'll check back in on the votes at the end of the show. And one of you, we will say, is our crowned winner.
Yeah.
You will win.
Title champion.
Yeah. Everybody loves a good game. All right, let's kick it off with a few stories that caught our eye today.
Anthropic issued a threat intelligence report that, among other things, revealed that Claude had been used as a, quote, technical consultant and active operator, enabling attacks that would be more difficult and time-consuming for individual actors to execute manually, including to, and I'll quote again, automate reconnaissance, credential harvesting, and network penetration at scale. It's an example of something that people have been calling vibe hacking. You've heard of vibe coding, where you just kind of say what you want to happen and the tool makes the code. The attackers don't need to have as much technical sophistication or time to carry out these kinds of attacks.
I mean, this is like the next generation, like kind of script kiddie, where you don't necessarily need.
You don't need to
have
know the script even. Yeah.
You just need to have
yeah.
You just need to have the.
Script kiddies were the idea that they weren't sophisticated programmers, but you could do so much with scripting. With you just know a little about scripting, you can do a lot of damage. Vibe hacking is the next step up. You're absolutely right. Like it's like I want this to happen, and then it happens. So Anthropic publishes this as a way to say, here are the threats we're monitoring, and these are the steps we're taking to try to thwart people from using our tools for that kind of thing.
Apple will stream all 6 of its live Apple Music radio stations for free outside of the Apple Music app for the first time on TuneIn. This includes Apple Music One, Hits, Country, Musica Uno, and Club, and are now accessible across TuneIn's smart speakers, mobile apps, and also the web if you use TuneIn that way. Algorithmic Apple Music stations still exclusive to subscribers. So this is just Apple kind of saying like, let's get it out into other places.
Yeah. I think that the first step in this was, I remember anyway, when they said, hey, we're going to put our stuff on Amazon's Echo devices. And I remember that being a huge step forward. And I went, yeah, now that's what you do when you're trying to get in on this business that Spotify has sort of swooped in and taken away from you. And then I felt like it has been a very long time since they had an outreach to other platforms, software, other methods of getting music. So this is good. It just seems like a really long time in between those things that we got anything like this.
Yeah, and this is different because like putting Apple Music on Amazon Echoes is kind of like putting Apple Music on Android, which they have also done. This is giving content to a competing app. I mean, Daily Tech News Show is available on TuneIn. I think TuneIn is what I use when I ask my Echo to play BBC World Service. I think it gets it from TuneIn. I've used it to listen to KMOX in St. Louis. But the idea of using TuneIn to listen to Apple Music, I think, is not something people are going to do unless they happen across it. And then that's the idea, right? Apple's like, we want TuneIn users to discover the kind of stuff that's on Apple playlists.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think that they need to, and I think that this is one of the downsides of having such a tightly controlled ecosystem. That everybody wants this. It's just that this is Apple's, and I think the problem with the way Apple does it is they limit themselves in exposure by having such a closed-in idea of where they want to keep everybody. So it feels weird to even have Apple Music on an Android phone. Not just because you don't see it there very often, but because Apple you don't think of them as that. You're not running Safari on your Windows box. You're not doing a lot of the things that they've offered in the past. You just don't do it because it just seems weird. I think they have to break that stigma and just get this stuff everywhere.
Oh, man. I just opened the TuneIn app. Apple Music is a title right below CNN and Taylor Swift.
Wow.
In the here's what's new. It's like Apple Music One,
Well,
Apple
new.
Music Chill, Apple Music Club, Apple Music Country. In the featured collections, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, College Football. Like
Dang.
they are definitely like getting a promotional boost out of this for sure.
That's
Well,
great.
I mean, Apple clearly puts a lot of time, effort, and money and resources into these curated channels. So, at some point, Apple or any other company is going to have to be like, well, all right, we're doing all this work and it's really good and we care about it. Where else do people start listening? So
Right,
tune
right.
in is the place.
Yep. They're back, baby.
Google announced new features for its workspace video editor, Vids, which includes AI avatars, automatic transcript trimming, and VO3-based image-to-video tools. Now, the AI avatars let users make a video by just uploading a script and selecting from preset voices and personas, and it generates the video. Vids also features an update that includes smart editing tools that detect, and this is, I would have loved this 15 years ago, to detect and remove filler words and long pauses automatically. And the company also announced that it was releasing a free consumer version of the video editor, albeit limited, without the Gemini-powered AI features, but still containing the core editing tools and templates.
I mean, this is catching up for vids. There's so many things like Descript and stuff out there, and I know Descript is mostly used for audio, but these are not new features that it's adding. So it's good to see Google catching up with this. Its biggest value, I think, is for people in the workspace subscription to be like, oh, we have an easy to use version of this. I can look at a video in Drive and click open in Vids and just start editing it. It's super easy. Although I will say the image to video stuff that VO3 does is probably market leading. So they've got a good advantage there.
And being a big a player, Google just has the heft of a huge user base. So
Yeah, right, exactly.
This is not. I don't think this. Well, maybe not yet. We'll die on the vine. We'll have to give it like 3 years before Google loses interest.
Before Google replaces it with a different version of that.
That sounds very similar. right? It won't be vids.
It'll be called Workspace Video.
Yeah.
I mean, I will
And you
say,
would do circles. Make more circles. Oh, maybe
as
that's
somebody
Circle to
who,
edit.
as somebody who edits a lot of audio for other people, and I am also very much a person who says and way too many times when I listen to myself, I'm like, oh my God, you're a monster. But you take that out too much, and then it sort of sounds weird.
Oh no, it definitely sounds weird.
It sounds just not quite right, not human enough. So
Yeah,
I do wonder, where the balance is in that.
I've listened to edited audio and said, I bet this was done with a generative tool because it just had a weird rhythm to it. I mean,
you'll still have control. Like it'll highlight them. You could go bloop, don't want that one, don't want that one. But like I had to edit a video for GameSpot one time, and the developer, not every third or fourth word, but almost every other word after a noun or adjective was and I spent a total of 15 minutes cutting half of that out, but not all of them, because it would have that weird uncanny valley effect.
Because if you do the whole thing, then it's like it doesn't sound right. Doesn't sound like a person. We all have our little quirks.
Oh yeah, some are bigger than others.
That's for sure.
Some are Captain Quirks.
That's right.
Yes, Captain Crunch also had quirks.
Sure. Yeah, that guy was with the
Certainly did.
berries and everything.
Yeah.
Peanut butter. What's going on over there?
What is going on, Captain Crunch? All right, those were 3 top stories that caught our eye today. Let's get into some discussions in a few. Plaud, Plaud.ai, launched a $180 Plaud Note Pro. You might be familiar with the company, but if you're not, this is an upgrade to its AI hardware notetaker, which is a just under an inch AMOLED screen. Kind of looks like a credit card. Has 4 microphones, double the recording range and battery life of the original device, so this is an update. The Note Pro also features automatic detection between if you're on a call or if you're in an in-person recording. It has improved noise suppressions and integrates with a revamped app offering multi-dimensional summaries, note queries, customizable templates. This is for the person who takes lots of meetings. Pre-orders start today. 600 complimentary transcription minutes are offered if you pre-order, and it's shipping in October.
Yeah, I reached out to Andy Beach, who was at Brian Brushwood's seminar with me earlier this summer, and he had a device like this, and it was, in fact, the Plaud Note pin. So it's one you can actually just wear, and then it records passively. So you don't have to think about it. It's just on, right? And then you're in a day-long seminar, like you were saying, Sarah, somebody's in like lots of meetings. You're at a conference, you're at an offsite, something like that. It'll just record everything. And then it knows when the meetings start and stop, and it provides outlines and transcripts and summaries. It was really interesting to see how it summarized my talk. Because it was an outside perspective where I'm like, oh, that's what it thinks the main points were. That's interesting. I wonder if that jives with what people in the audience thought. But Andy used it, I know, very much to like make sure he had a handle on all the stuff that he was listening to.
Well, so what was interesting is we do a fair amount of meetings in our team here on DTNS, but I am not a meeting heavy person in general. Many people that I know are in meetings all day. That's just, you're a meeting person or you aren't. So if you are, I polled a few friends earlier today, like, would you want something like this? And one of my friends who I think his entire job is taking meetings, he was like, well, but it's a hardware device that has to connect to an app on your phone, but you could just use something like Granola, which is just software that is an app on your phone. So why do you need the device? And I didn't have a good answer for that.
The mics.
Yeah. The mics.
Well, the mics, yes, yeah. So if you're getting better information, but it felt like a lot of folks who are very meeting centric were like, I don't know. Do I need this?
Yeah, because I know the Plaud Note Pro has an increased range over the previous version. It's 5 meters. And it gives you the option to reduce the range to save battery life. So if you've got it at 5 meters, it can do 30 hours of notes, which, frankly, if you're plugging it in every night, it's not a big deal. But if you're like at a big conference and you don't want to have to remember to plug it in, you can reduce that to 3 meters. Maybe you're in small meeting rooms, and then it will give you 50 hours of battery life. So that's another reason is you get better audio over a longer distance than probably you would get from your phone. And you don't have to, you can use your phone. If you're recording with your phone, you're not going to want to pick up your phone and mess with it, right?
And it's funny because when this was brought up in the pre-show, two things immediately hit my head. Two groups, attorneys and real estate agents, because they are often in meetings, whether with a client or with other attorneys, and they're responding to clients or other attorneys or other agents on their phone at the same time.
Yeah,
they are multitasking. You
have to take copious notes.
You have to, especially when you're dealing with legal details, you want to make sure you get all of it. Even if it seems very innocuous or very unimportant, it is very important all of it get down. And if it's something where $1 million plus or even like $100,000 contract, the price is peanuts. I mean, just to have that, because otherwise you would have to bring another person to write all that down and not task them with anything else.
Yeah.
Right.
This is the modern day dictaphone, right? Like you used to put the little thing on the table, press record, and then you'd hand it to somebody to transcribe later. This just does all that immediately. And then you can have it as soon as your meeting's done.
Talk to my sister, who's an actual therapist who does records meetings, certain kinds of meetings, certain kind of note taking. And she had her only real concerns about this. She likes the idea of how accurate it will capture it, how well it will then give you outputs that you want based on the kinds of information you want retained. Her big concern was privacy. Knowing that this stuff is, using cloud services in order to do what it does best, to give you the output you want. Kind of a no-no in her world, you got to keep that stuff as confidential as possible. And I'm not sure that Plaud or anybody else has indicated enough security for her to feel comfortable with using something like that. But she'd love it if she could.
Yeah,
she just uses her phone now. So.
That's very fair. I think any company who has, at this point, a product where you're like, oh, cool, AI-focused company, you got to think about, well, where's that data going? Just for the record, Plaud says that it uses a variety of models, GPT-5, Claude Sonnet 4, Gemini 2.5 Pro, and those were just a few that it offered, but says it's sort of a cornucopia of AI models.
Oh, it's HIPAA compliant?
Yeah, because you can do transcription and recording offline. You don't have to send it to the cloud for that. You only send it to the cloud for higher quality transcription or summarization.
Okay. So the summary bit, maybe that's what she was telling me about.
And maybe the cloud storage is HIPAA compliant. Like just because it sends it to the cloud doesn't mean that it's not HIPAA compliant. It just means they have to certify and do more things to make sure that whatever you send is only available to you. It's end-to-end encryption, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, that also signals that they are eyeing those market paths, because they wouldn't even bother saying anything about HIPAA compliance if they didn't know the medical industry or the mental health industry. Either any of those would probably buy into this. I think they will. So I think that's
it's a matter of whether you trust Plaud.
Yeah,
but
it's an awful lot like Claude, isn't it?
Yeah, I know.
I thought it was misspelled originally when I read the.
You thought it was Plaid.
Plaud AI. Oh boy.
Plaud AI.
I was wondering how I was supposed
to.
Because I wasn't familiar with the company until recently. I'm like, is it Plaud? Plaud?
Is it Plaudit? Or Applaud? Or
Plaudor?
You say Plaudie. I say.
Yep.
We
say a lot of things on this show. But what we would like, Tom Merritt, is a perfected computer monitor. Just at this point, come on. Just give me the monitor that's the most perfect monitor ever, and then we never have to use second screens and that sort of stuff. However, everybody's different, and we have mini monitor ideas, and Corsair has a new one.
Yes, indeed. Ars Technica has a review of Corsair's secondary touchscreen monitor. So it's not the first one, although maybe that's the first time you heard these existed. Theirs is called the Xeneon Edge. It was announced at CES this year, and it's shipping. So let's just all take a moment.
Not vaporware
Welcome.
after all.
Yeah, it does happen. Not everything at CES is vaporware. It's approximately 5 by 15 inches. So it's 5 inches tall, 15 inches wide. It's a little less than that. It's more like 14 and a half. But it is meant to mount on your PC as sort of a squat rectangular status monitor. Corsair makes some widget software for it, or you can just drag items that you own onto it. It can attach to your fan mount, any 360 millimeter fan mount, or as a side panel on Corsair's Frame series PC. But the way Ars Technica did it when they reviewed it was to just use the tiny plastic stand that it comes with and prop it up below their existing monitor.
That's what
and
I
then
would do.
just use the widgets. I feel like that's what I would do too. It's $250. So not, breaking the bank as far as monitors go, where there usually can be like 500 to 1,000, but also it's a smaller monitor. It's a secondary monitor. So I'm curious what y'all think of just the idea of a secondary monitor. It seems like the widgets were the way to go, according to ours. Like having it just to slide things on wasn't useful because of the form factor, but the widgets are coming along. So they're like, when Corsair releases more widgets, it'll be better.
Yeah, I look at this and my first inclination is to say I'm using an entire extra monitor for what this does best.
Yeah.
And I might be better suited to buy something like this for potentially less money, although in this case it's not that much.
Well, and
less.
saving space too.
Yeah, and save space. That's a good point.
Yeah, right.
Depending on, your, like, for example, my desk setup right now, I've got this real nice big monitor. So I'm like, I don't need a second monitor. But if I did have that right down underneath, that would be nice. I don't have room for a second full screen monitor. I just can't make it work.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I think that's actually the trick is what are your needs? If you need big full screen staging for big stuff, then probably a multi-monitor setup is okay. But I can tell you right now, I have a third monitor here that does nothing but sort of widget tracking. And for me, widgets are a clock with some timer stuff on it, some other show-related things, some OBS elements. Like it's very functional, but I could do everything I see over here on that
On a
little
smaller
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah, they might want to, especially if it's got touch capability. They don't, not everything's going to have this. I saw one of these on YouTube or on TikTok. A totally different brand.
Yeah. There's
But
a bunch
these are-
of cheapo ones
Bunch of
out
these
there.
on there. Yeah, a whole bunch. So there must be
These-
some trend toward them, and people
I
are getting
mean,
them.
these have been a thing for the past 5-6 years where you have status monitors for a lot of PC modders who want to do, like, I want to keep track of my temps. So when I overclock or when I do something, and the whole idea behind it was to have something where you could see it, but it would look clean. It just wouldn't look like I have a monitor sticking out the side of my PC case. And one of the things I'll note is that there are oftentimes, when we think of monitors, we think of, well, just a display we use to type and stuff and surf the web on. But really what it is just another status display, something where we can have an output to, right? In the same way we have different sized printers. We have inkjet printers. We have small printers. We have, if you need to do legal sized, they make legal sized, laser printers that take legal letter-sized paper. And it only stands to reason that we have so many other use cases for what we need to see that doesn't require a standard, 19, 20 plus inch display.
Yeah.
Especially when you're talking about something where you just need to eyeball, like, oh, it's 57 degrees. It's fine. I can walk away.
Yeah, and even like if you look at what Apple tried to do, kind of failed with because they don't do it anymore, but they tried to do this with the strip up on top of the MacBook Pros. That was kind of that idea. I mean, it wasn't. It ended up not being very enough features to really make it useful. A lot of people liked it. A lot of people did.
I did not understand the hate for that. I thought it worked out really well,
great.
but it depends on what you're doing, of course.
Right.
It's one of those things where people like see a display and they suddenly want to cram everything else into it. Like, oh, I want to see if I can, run a web page or read a web page off of it, or I can play a game. It's like there's just a natural inclination to do it, but it's like trying to figure out how to take your golf cart onto like Talladega Speedway, right? Yeah. It's like, you can do it, but it's not what it's meant for.
I also think that the price point is what is kind of putting Corsair, ahead of the pack, as it were. I know a friend of mine has something very, very similar from a company called SecDec. Hope I'm saying that right. There's another one from Asus called the Pro Art Display, which also has MPP 2.0 pen support. So your mileage may vary based on what you want, but these are all touch screens and really, meant to be that small second screen. That if you need it, if you don't need it, you don't need it. But if you're like, you know what, that would actually be really great. That would be one less thing that I look at, on my initial screen.
Yeah.
I just did a quick Amazon search for secondary touchscreen monitor, and they don't look as nice as this. In some cases, they just attach to your monitor, and they're about the same price. I mean, there's some that look more like tablets that are $100 some, but most of them are $200 or $250. So,
yeah, it's my only misgiving about them is they're still tied into your OS and your PC. So you can't if you want them to work, your PC needs to be on, which isn't an issue for most people. But if you just
what's the misgiving?
Well, is that
the PC?
Well, yeah, but if you just, it's like if you wanted to figure out what the weather was, and the only way to tell was to turn on your computer, and then it goes.
Yeah,
through
it's
Windows.
not good for that kind of stuff.
You know what I
That's
mean?
more of a Echo Show or Google.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's not necessarily an always on.
It's a monitor extension. That's
it is
is.
really meant for measuring your CPU heat, and performance. That's what you see in all of the demonstrations of them. And that is one of the problems, is that this uses Corsair's iQ to run the widgets, which makes them customizable and manageable. But it also means you have to run software that is pulling cycles from the CPU, whose performance you're trying to maximize.
And this isn't really the display's fault. It's more of an issue. Why couldn't they just tap into the UEFI and have that and just load it separately from the OS? So if Windows goes, doesn't have a good day and crashes, you can still figure out where everything is.
Yeah, I mean, they say they save the settings for your widgets on the monitor. I imagine it would be more expensive, but how much more would it be to have the monitor have its own widgets operating that are just getting data from the computer without putting a load on them?
Yeah, I would prefer that. I like the idea.
If you're doing it for that purpose, if you're doing it, I would, if I were to get one of these, I would probably throw Discord in there, and WhatsApp and stuff like that. So I don't even know if I'd use the widgets. It would more just be to keep an eye on stuff and then drag it up into my main monitor.
Well, and I'm thinking of again going back to my desktop setting. It's I've got my monitor. The monitor's up from the desk. I don't know, a foot ish. This would work perfectly. And what is it doing? It's kind of doing the stuff that I would be constantly checking my phone for otherwise.
Yeah.
And it's fine. I can do that on my phone. But just to have it be sort of part of my desktop experience, I think that makes a lot of sense. For example, phone not with me right now. What's the weather? I don't know. It would be really nice to just kind of have a few of those widgets, just stuff that we all are checking throughout the day. Yeah. Maybe it's not what you're doing for the bulk of your work, but just stuff, time, date, checking feeds, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had an HP monitor that stopped working with my Mac for some reason that I can't figure out. But when it was, I was just doing stuff like this, because it's kind of far. And I was just I don't really need that monitor. And then when it stopped working, I was like, oh, I kind of got used to having things up there, even though I wasn't looking at it all the time. It was nice to be oh, did I get a message from the dog walker yet? No. Okay. Instead of it, now I don't have as much screen real estate.
The other thing is all these machines, all these modern PCs, all these modern Macs, all these modern Linux configurations, they support Thunderbolt and USB-C and faster video and multiple video and outputs at 8K and multiple outputs at 8K. We may as well be taking advantage of it all.
Yeah,
so
right.
Give us more cool stuff to connect.
Daisy chain that stuff.
Yeah, I love it.
All right, well, folks, if you haven't been to the DTNS store lately, you are missing out, because we have a brand new limited edition item for you. Yeah, you can still get the mugs, you can still get the t-shirts, but you're going to want to check the DTNS Live bumper sticker. I mean, yes, you could put it on your car's bumper, hence the name, but you could also put it on a bedroom wall, put it on a laptop. That's where people put stickers more often these days. They're a great way to support the show, and they make a nice little gift. Go check it out. It is there for now at dailytechnewsshow.com/store.
All right, Scott Johnson. As the biggest player in the video game console market, PlayStation has quite a bit to manage, especially the games that they publish. A recent Financial Times article is talking about the company's efforts to get more out of their first-party publishers. So what's the scoop?
All right, so Sony's been kind of in a weird loop lately. They have been chasing some trends, and those trends mainly are services. So what are they going to do with PlayStation Plus? They've done a bunch of machinations there and variations, and that kind of keeps evolving. Normal stuff, not too crazy, but they have to sort of be on their toes to compete with things like Game Pass and other services. The other thing they've been chasing is games as a service. And if people out there don't know what that would be, a good example of that is Fortnite. That's the best example, actually. It's the game that makes the most money as a game as a service. That is an ongoing game that is constantly introducing microtransacted content for people to buy and to continue to play their game and play it, often. They've chased that a number of times, and the most recent time it was an absolute abject failure. It was for a game called the name just left me. Why did I forget the name? It's right here. I put it in my notes. Concord. Concord was a huge mess, and it was only 2 months from release to shutting down those servers, and it cost them many hundreds of millions of dollars in development costs and a load of layoffs and all kinds of problems. It was a big, big mess. So this doesn't mean that Sony's like suddenly hands off, whoa, back up, we're not going to do any of this anymore. What's happening instead is they're expanding their gaming empire and heavily investing in first-party studios like Bungie, the Halo people now, doing new stuff now for them, hopefully good stuff. Housemarque, Team Asabi, anyway, a bunch of different studios known for really good, high-quality content, aiming to balance creative independence with stricter oversight, so that they can not have more of these costly failures like Concord. 20 studios we're talking about, not quite what Microsoft did with all their recent acquisitions. But that's 20 studios, and though they are a small slice of Sony's 32 billion games revenue with PlayStation, they are central to PlayStation's identity. There's no getting away from that. Think of it as the HBO of gaming. That is kind of Sony's position in the market when it comes to specific kinds of content. They nail it in a way that others don't. And in fact, some of their games are such good examples of the HBO seal of quality that they end up being made into HBO shows later, which is kind of funny with Last of Us as an example. But titles like God of War, the Spider-Man series, those are huge. So what are they doing? They're investing in that future and still looking forward and acquiring studios. But the goal now is less about chasing the trends and going after all these opportunities that they think are going to be the flash in the pan trends. And they may be right about them. They're just too late to them. So instead, they're scaling back and pushing back to what they do best, to focus on diverse, high-quality experiences. That is often single-player experiences, by the way, for them. Franchise growth. Think of something new like Astrobot is their newest sort of mascot character that competes quite well with the Marios of the world.
Kids
and that
love
sort of
that.
thing. It's really good. They won Game of the Year last year at the Game Awards for a reason. It's an excellent game. And I mean, the tension is it's trying to keep these studios nimble and creative without meeting shareholder demands, right? There's this desire on Sony's part to say, our tradition is this. We should adhere to that tradition if we're going to still remain viable in this business. In a way, it's kind of what Nintendo does. It's a different thing with Nintendo, but Nintendo's like, we're going to be Nintendo. We're done trying to be everybody else. We stopped doing that with GameCube. We're done. We're going to just be weird, and people are going to like it or they're not, and that's who we are. I think this is a little bit of what Sony's up to. And my main takeaway here, and then, Roger, I want to hear your take on this. This is Sony doubling back and hunkering down into what they already do better than any of the competition. That is true to this day. They still make some of the biggest franchises, the biggest blockbusters, and the best single-player experiences the gaming's ever known. And they've been doing it for 30-plus years. So be the brand of quality. Don't chase the trends. Go back to setting those trends and have others chase you in what you're making. Do you think I'm right about that?
I mean, even with the original PlayStation, when they bought out Psygnosis and made him one of their first-party software houses, Sony really has a knack at whether you're talking about like The Last of Us or God of War. All those are really high quality, but well written games, and it's something that Microsoft has been really trying to do, but they always come up a little short, right? Instead of God of War, you got, was it Darksiders? So you have like sort of ersat versions of the original that like, oh, they're trying to do what Sony did. And it's interesting because Microsoft is taking more of a distribution tack. Like, how do we get all this stuff to different people regardless of where they are? And Sony seems to be taking, let's be the really high quality content farm that makes the stuff that people want, that makes people stand in line, 6 hours before to get some special edition of a game because it comes with, I don't know, like a replica head or something of a character in the game. And, it's weird. Nintendo tends to leverage a lot of nostalgia, but also a familiarity with content that's been a known quantity, so people understood what they're getting.
It's also reliably good every time, right? Nintendo has a history of that. Sony to some degree has as well. And before we get a bunch of emails, Darksiders was a third-party game, and this is part of the problem. Microsoft, other than Halo, and they had to buy that to have Halo be kind of their mainstay early on in the Xbox world. They've never really been able to do their own thing very well and have it be at the level Sony and Nintendo had established. So, if anything, this is a smart strategy on Sony's part to say, well, let's get back to what used to scare Microsoft about us. Why are we trying to chase the stuff they're now poking, they're poking at us with their money and their size and their capabilities and their cloud and everything else? Why don't we just dominate so well at the thing that we know gamers really, really want? I actually think this is a winning strategy, and I'd be shocked if this doesn't work.
And, I mean, if you think about it, it's more of a software-focused kind of look at it instead of like, hey, we have a platform. We need to get as many publishers on it producing games in order to have this kind of ecosystem. And I think as we move forward and like the hardware platform becomes less and less integral to the experience, right? Because so much of that hardware is sort of just off-the-shelf commodity parts. Granted, it's bespoke commodity parts, which is sort of a crossroads, cross purposes. But I mean, it actually makes sense. If you're going to a thing where potentially your games will be played via cloud streaming or whatever, you want to be there with your best product, right? You want your name, even if it means you're competing with third-party publishers that you also have deals with, that you're also trying to solicit to produce games for your platform.
Yeah, if anything, Game Pass has proven that part of the market is going to be dominated by Microsoft and their wheeling and dealing with Game Pass, them buying out studios with big blockbuster games. The thing is, though, and this has to drive Microsoft nuts, they spent $68 million on Activision Blizzard. They spent all this money on all these other studios. They now own big studios, Bethesda, everybody else. At the end of the day, though, they don't have Mario. They don't have God of War. They don't have Last of Us. They don't have Nathan Drake. They don't have some really, really tentpole franchises that, by the way, didn't have to be bought from somebody. In some cases, they were deals with other publishers. Sometimes they were studios that were acquired. But they're not just buying studios to get their IPs. Sony's buying studios, and then they develop games they want to make. Ghost of Tsushima is an amazing example of that. The upcoming sequel to that. These are award-winning, massive, genre-defining titles that the others chase. So I say this is the right idea. Yeah. Make them keep chasing. Yeah. Go for it.
It's because Microsoft has them in. This isn't to disparage Microsoft, but it's very much of I own 100 car dealerships. I need to make a car that will sell on my lot. While Sony's like, I'm a car maker. I want to make a car that I want to drive and that
it's
I know.
Platform versus content maker is exactly what you're describing. Yeah, it's like are you going to be the platform or the content maker or both? Right? Netflix is both, but it also still acquires content. Paramount, it's got a platform, but it's mostly making content. Sony is only a content maker for most things, not a platform. Yeah, they have Crunchyroll, but you don't see a Sony movies platform. You don't see a Sony platform the way you see an HBO Max for Warner.
That's interesting. I never really thought about it that way.
And so
they've struggled with that,
Yeah, and this seems to be what they're best at, is making high quality content that they make their money from by selling to other people. And there's no reason why that can't work for video games as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think that really puts it simply. And I think I think that this is the year, the year of 2026, the upcoming year is the year for them to prove that out so that they're ready for whatever that next hardware line looks like. And they can be the Sony that they want to be and not have to,
be the Sony you want to see in the world.
I mean, it's weird. It's not
Definitely
unlike the way
a title suggestion.
The way movie studios really rely on tentpole IPs, whether it's a Jurassic Park or Jurassic World or some version of Superman, X-Men, Avengers, something where you used because that's what people enjoy, but there are known quantities. So if they spend X amount of dollars, they know, it might be a popcorn movie, but I'll have a fun 2 hours.
Yeah, that's all they want sometimes, So we'll see.
All right, we're still talking hardware. Now, let's move on to Framework, which has made plenty of promises about the upgradability of their modular laptops. Fulfilled some of those promises, but the Holy Grail appears to have finally arrived. Roger, I know you're on the case.
So yesterday, in the Quick Hits, we mentioned that Framework launched a new updated Framework Laptop 16 that supports a new Nvidia RTX 5070 GPU module, in addition to the already supported AMD Radeon RX 7700S GPU module. Now, it comes with G-Sync display support, and you can pre-order the laptop for $1,500 without any of the modules. But one of the big things that a lot of people were kind of questioning Framework was, were they going to follow through, especially with the GPU, because it is a very expensive item. The RTX 5070 is $700. Outside, if you buy the modules, to buy the module to insert into the laptop, and that's almost double the price, of the original 7700S, which came in at $400. But it sort of manifests what a lot of kind of DIY, or not DIY, but laptop enthusiasts have wanted, is true upgradability. Not just like, I can upgrade the storage, I can upgrade the memory. I want to upgrade a significant portion of the device that I'm using, so I can extend the life of the platform I already have, but at the same time I don't need to shell out for an entirely new machine when the machine I already have is still perfectly serviceable. I think this hopefully will mark the turning point where you can kind of get manufacturers on board where MXM sort of failed because it was so geared toward workstations and very corporate focused categories, where this is more of an enthusiast, more of a user, a consumer user base, that Nvidia kind of says, fine, we'll let you have that. We'll do this and make it a thing where you don't need to buy a new laptop because you want a new GPU. You can just buy a new GPU. Granted, $700, but it's better than shelling, $1,500 for a new laptop without the GPU. And if you want something a little more high performance, you're spending well over $2,000.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is interesting because this is the long time golden duck nobody can find, right?
Yeah.
How do you make your
golden goose?
Goose is better than duck. You're right.
Or did you mean like, it's not quite a goose, but it's a golden duck?
It looks like a goose from a distance, but you get closer, it's a duck.
And geese are jerks. Ducks are nicer, so we'll stick with the ducks.
If it was a 5080, it'd be a goose, but it's a 5070. So.
But it's this idea we've been telling ourselves for, I think, like 25 years. A quarter of a century, we've been saying to ourselves, hey, it'd be great if our notebooks were fully modular. So that screen's got an OLED version now, pop it on. You got a bigger hard drive, stick it in. It's a wonderful idea. It's a wonderful idea. It really, truly is. But nobody's quite got there with anything. Phones have come a little closer with, I forgot the name of the one. Tom likes them.
Oh, the
not
Frameworks.
Jason likes them, I think.
The Android phone that was.
Yeah, I forgot the name.
The slidable, replaceable cameras.
Yeah, those get closer. I think those have a better chance of this because they're talking about small components. But this idea has been around forever. Microsoft now hinting that the next Xbox will be this, very modular in this way. We talked about it 2 weeks ago, but
there is an element of chicken and egg, right? Like manufacturers aren't going to make it if there's no one there to buy it because there's enough.
The Fairphone. Sorry.
There. Thank you. Jeez, I knew I was close. No, I wasn't even close. Chicken, duck, whatever.
Would you make a GPU with an expectation of maybe you'd sell 60% of them? You want to sell as many as you want, but you can't produce something and just hope, on a flip of a quarter that people will come rushing to your door if there's no platform to take advantage of it. And you see this with MXM, which is sort of a mobile GPU format standard, but there comes in 3 different sizes, and even them, like it's whether it's version 1 or 2, and they're not all compatible with each other, and sometimes you need a firmware update. And I think having something a little more consumer friendly and something more consumer facing will go a long way. If other manufacturers say like, hey, maybe if Framework has this, we can take advantage of the fact that they have these modules and make our next enthusiast laptop platform compatible with that as well.
Yeah. I mean, I want this. I just have never, they've always let me down. And I know it's expensive and it's going to take time and you have to iterate, and hardware is not any cheaper than it's ever been. And, I don't know. That's
the promise of
G. James B is asking an interesting question there on the screen, Roger. Can you buy parts individually and build a ghost laptop? Like, what is the advantage of starting with Framework?
Yeah, good point.
With Framework is you're pretty much guaranteed it all works together. You can build a white box laptop that way. Typically, they're going to be pretty big and heavy. They're going to be workstation-sized laptops, and they do have removable parts. But if you've ever done it yourself, it can get kind of complicated and pretty tricky, and you're going to have to slather on all the thermal paste yourself, and make sure you get the little wires connected into the brackets. And they're designed for people that change them out, but they're designed for people who maybe do it for a living, in the same way that a lot of things in your car are designed for someone to take apart. But typically you want a mechanic to do it because they know their way around the engine.
It's for the person who is familiar and comfortable with tinkering, but doesn't want to do it 24/7.
There you go.
More for your company IT guy to do than the guy who just wants a new GPU.
Well, it's not cost effective either. Like
it's not
the amount of time you have. If you're a hobbyist and you just want to do it because it's fun, that's different. But if you're an IT manager, you're not going to do this because it's going to take you too much time.
And you do it for a set. You do it for like a dozen laptops because those particular individuals need to be out in the field with this particular hardware set.
For replacing parts, but not for building from scratch. You're never going to do that.
I mean, you can. It's going to be very cost ineffective, and that's why not a lot of people do. If you go to RJ Tech, they let you do that. You can order online just a bare bones, and then you can order from them and they'll screw it together, or you can just buy the parts yourself. But by the time you
order the Framework laptop with base specs and then build it yourself from there.
And that's the thing. Frameworks is so much more consumer friendly, more user friendly to putting all this stuff together. But in the end, you're not saving money. Just understand that. You're not saving money, but you do have flexibility, which is something you don't get with a lot of laptops. Like, I reached the end of this life of this CPU, can't change it, can't change the motherboard, throw away, buy a new laptop.
You're never going to get to a laptop of Theseus situation, though.
No.
You can just never have to replace it. You just keep changing a part here and a part there.
I mean, if you're very inventive and have lots of time on your hand, you could totally do it, but that's for the average person. I think that's
Frankenstein territory.
That's highly improbable.
Good way of putting it. Yeah.
And thank goodness that Framework is now supporting poor old Nvidia, whose revenue only rose 56% year over year last quarter.
Come on, they're $1 trillion.
Finally, Nvidia caught a break.
Yeah, poor Nvidia. Nobody seemed to care about AI, and now it seems to be like a cool trend. So good on you.
They were giving their
little scrappy
GPUs
company
away for a little bit. No,
sure.
Yeah, that is something.
I should have bought stock so many years ago.
What were you thinking?
Well, we don't do
You and
that,
everybody
Roger,
else.
do we?
Yes, I know. Jim Louderback really drilled it into me.
Okay. Well, let's move on and check out the mailbag.
Matthew writes, my language journey began in high school where I took Spanish for 3 years. We're assuming this is in response to us talking about Google Translate, learning languages, and all of that.
Yeah.
Matthew says, those years in high school did not make me fluent. I was lucky enough to do an exchange program in Spain for a month that following summer. After that, I ended up in the U.S. Air Force and went to the military language school in Monterey, California. Most people don't have the opportunity or even the time to spend Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 every day learning a language. When I left the USAF, I never really used Spanish, despite living in Texas for more than 25 years. Now, after living in Ecuador for more than 2 years, my Spanish has never been better. My pronunciation is better than ever, and even my Ecuadorian wife that doesn't speak English sometimes forgets it's not my native language. We really don't learn most of English quickly. It takes children 7 to 10 years to really know the language, and that's with full immersion and exclusive use. That's not practical for most people as adults, so patience really is the key. I'm now approaching C1 level Spanish on the DELE scale. Silvia.ai is an interesting language app for learning. I also like SpanishDictionary.com and Busuu, B-U-S-U-U.
Oh, Matthew, that's so fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, kudos for being so good at Spanish.
Yeah.
I'm with you. When I was a child, I mean, growing up in California, it's like you could take other languages, but everybody took Spanish because why wouldn't you? That's helpful. And yet, 4 years of Spanish in high school didn't really get me anywhere. You really got to be, boots on the ground.
Yeah.
So,
So if I'm reading this right, if you really want to learn a language, marry someone who only speaks that language, and then move to a country that speaks that language.
Their country.
Piece of cake.
And in 2 years, you'll be fluent.
Yeah, it's nothing.
Yeah.
There are quite a few reality shows that tackle this exact problem
That's true.
that I am very familiar with. If anyone wants to know, feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com. Let's have a conversation.
Nice.
Remember that you can send in your comments, anything like Matthew's, anything we talk about on the show, anything you'd like us to talk about on a future show, feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com. Of course, if you're a patron, comment on anything we post to Patreon as well. We always look at all of those comments too. Scott Johnson, always a pleasure to have you. Where should folks check out your latest?
Well, I'm in the middle of some heavy-duty contract negotiations and all kinds of fun stuff to get the big get-together back together next year.
Next week.
If it was next week, we were all, it's the end. The world's ending.
I need luggage.
Yeah, we'll need time. No, next year, next June. In fact, the new dates or the set dates right now are looking like June 11th, the weekend of June 11th. It'll be a Thursday evening, a whole Friday and a Saturday for this event. If you've ever been to any one of the other ones, it's going to make sense to you what we're going to do. But if you've never been before, there's a website for this. So go over to frogpants.com/nerdtacular. Tom Merritt will be there. We'll have a lot of familiar faces there. And we're working on everything to do with it until next year. But there's enough info for you to go check it out, read the FAQ, and let me know if you have any questions. So do check it out if you get a second. That is at frogpants.com/nerdtacular.
That's right. I'll be there just as soon as Scott agrees to my rider about the green M&Ms. That's just the only thing we have to sign off.
He only wants green M&Ms every time.
Fed to me directly by Scott.
Yeah, it's very weird.
Aren't the green M&Ms the ones that are bad for you?
I don't know.
They're bad for you?
I don't
don't
know.
know.
What are we talking about right now?
Don't tell Tom that.
Well, no,
That's
there's
bad.
the old story that the Rolling Stones pioneered the idea of putting a thing in the rider of their contract that there should be no green M&Ms in the M&M bowl in their green room.
Because they're bad for you.
No, because
Is that
they wanted
why?
to make
No.
sure that people had read the rider. And if they
Right.
saw green M&Ms, they knew you didn't read our rider.
Yep.
So we could
That
break
was
the
it.
contract.
It turns out they didn't do it because they preferred them or thought it was
Right.
better.
You
Any
know
of
more
those
about
things.
this than I do.
It was a legal maneuver in order to get to aha.
Aha! They got an aha moment for sure.
Badfink is like, they're all bad for you. They're M&Ms.
That's a fair point.
I mean,
Fair point.
No,
I mean,
bad
no,
thing.
the peanut
The
M&Ms
brown ones
have
are
real
fine.
peanuts in them.
Yeah.
Don't eat the brown M&Ms. Oh, wait. Those
There's the peanut ones and almond M&Ms.
There's the peanut
pretzel
and then,
ones, too.
and then there's the peanut butter M&Ms, and boy, are those good.
Those
No,
are just
peanut
Reese's
butter.
Pieces ripoffs, though.
Well, I don't care. They taste good.
You know what else tastes good? A good title. Just slips off the tongue. See? Did,
Yep.
no?
Yeah.
Anyway, during the show, people have been submitting much better titles than that joke, like Clinton Woodward with Vibe Hacking for Script Kiddies. It's the title of my new book that I'm going to vibe write after the show
love it.
today.
Love it.
Batfink also has Turn On, Tune In, Listen to Apple Music.
Ah, yes. Going back to the Rolling Stones again, kind of.
JPEG 84 with a CES product actually gets released for sale.
Whoa.
And maybe the third one I've noticed this year. I bet there's even more. Sony takes the whole pie. Be the Sony you want to be. That's enough. JPEG suggested that. There's so many good ones here. What should we go with, Sarah Lane?
Well, JPEG 84 caught our eyes and our heart with Sony makes what Sony wants.
Yeah, they do.
And that's what we're going with today.
What Sony wants.
They
You
really
are the
should.
champion, JPEG
Thanks to
84.
everybody for submitting and voting. Good stuff, as always.
Also, champions are people who support us by watching us on LinkedIn or YouTube or Twitch. In fact, PC Milesy gave us 20 bits. That's a little bit of money in our pocket. Thank you, PC Milesy. Punk FEJ resubscribed with Prime for the 61st month. Keep up the good work, DTNS. Thank you, Punk. CPOT's 50. Good to see you back for the 64th month. We got bits from Zoe Brings Bacon. New follows from Nikola Jokic and Calypso 7899. And like just less, I guess during Android Faithful yesterday, the PAC NW Fallstar was just giving out tier 1 subscriptions to people. So thank you for that. That is going to do it for today. Reminder, we've been talking about it all week. We've got a schedule change starting next week. DTNS Live on Thursdays, go into a weekly schedule. But we have new stuff starting on Monday. So if you're used to showing up on Monday at this time to watch live, there will be something for you there. It'll be the editor's desk or in office hours. In a couple of weeks, we'll be doing the Apple keynote live. That'll be earlier in the day, of course. There'll be Live With It. We've got the rice cooker episode coming for you a week from today, right here on this channel. And DTNS Live on Thursdays. It's not going away. I keep people saying, well, it's not going away. DTNS Live on Thursdays. Do not miss it. And of course, just a good old fashioned hangout on Fridays at the same time. So if you like showing up for live stuff, you will still get live stuff every day right here on whatever channel you're enjoying this on. Thank you for your support.
You can watch us live at 4 p.m. Eastern. That is 2000 UTC. And you can find out more at dailytechnewsshow.com/live. We're back doing it all again tomorrow, and you better be with us.
Yeah.
That's an order.
Be with us.
Or be square.
Be square.
The DTNS family of podcasts, helping each other understand.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Yes.